Hello and welcome back to the KCC channel. I'm Rob and I hope you are having a wonderful day today. Today I've got a couple of stories for you, both with updates. Let's jump right in. This story comes to us from FHDKS Throwaway. Am I the butthole for buying a $50,000 guitar for $4,000 and refusing to sell it back when the buyer found out the real value? This happened a while back. My wife and I still talk about it every once in a while. She's on my side and most of our friends and family are. However, when it happened, it was like World War III between us and her co-workers and others. Here we go. I've been playing the guitar for 22 years. I know guitar values and whatnot very well. I'm very into the guitar market. At my wife's old company, she was hanging out with coworkers one day after work, and she mentioned that I play guitar. A coworker, who I guess is very popular at work, said that his dad passed away and he was selling his dad's things. His dad had a guitar, and asked my wife if I'd be interested in it. My wife texted me and I said to have him send me the info on the guitar and the price. The next day, he texted me the pics and price. It was a 1952 Telecaster in mint condition. He had the original receipts, which was crazy. That's how I knew the date. I asked what he wanted for it and he said, looked up Telecasters online and he thinks $4,000 is fair. I texted back, I'll take it for $4,000 and went to pick it up. The guitar had no sentimental value to him at all. Here's the issue at hand. The guitar was and is worth approximately $50,000 depending on the buyer, and I knew it. When I got the guitar, I told my wife the price and what it was worth. She was floored. Fast forward 2 weeks, her coworker tells my wife he just found out what the guitar was actually worth from a family friend and wanted it back. She said, well, he really likes the guitar and he knew it was worth $50,000, which is why he was floored you offered it to him for $4,000. He really likes it and I doubt he will sell it back, but you can ask. Probably not the smartest thing for her to say, but she was caught off guard and it's not her fault or problem. He contacted me and asked to buy it back. I said that it's not for sale. He then said I scammed him and he was going to sue me and take my wife to HR for being part of the scam, which was nuts, but he actually did contact HR. They were cool about it and said it's not their problem. It's between him and me. Over the next few months, he made things very uncomfortable for my wife at work. He would bug her constantly about it. She eventually had to go to HR for harassment, and they actually let him go. She complained twice and he was warned and didn't stop. He's contacted me several times about it, so I got a restraining order for harassment too. I blocked him too. I haven't heard from him in about a year. Am I the butthole? Before going into the update, it is my firm opinion that if you're going to sell something, you should do your research to know what that item is worth. If you sell it for a lower price than what it's worth, that's on you because you didn't do your research. OP added an update. Let's jump down and see what it says. It says, update. Well, this post blew up way beyond what I was expecting. It looks like I was voted not the butthole. There's over 5,000 comments. I couldn't read them all, but I did read a lot. Just to clear up some things, I left some things out because I didn't want it to influence opinions and really wanted it to be about me buying a guitar at a significantly lower market value versus the people in the story. I did include the fact that the guy was harassing my wife at work, not to make the guy sound bad, but because I thought it was relevant to the story. Here's some specific details I chose not to include. The guy and his dad were not close at all, so those people saying he was grieving and I took advantage of him, that is 100% not the case. When I went to get the guitar, he was telling me he hadn't talked to his dad in 6 years. And was actually annoyed he had to deal with a funeral. The dad bought the guitar new and never played it. Luckily, it was stored in a closet and not in a basement or attic. There's no issue with the wood or electronics. It plays like a dream and I couldn't be happier. I am not selling the guitar to the son or anyone. It will be with me for a long time. I'm in my 30s, so maybe in 30 years it will find a new home. I would have maybe considered giving the guy more money or giving him one of my guitars to sell on his own, but I decided not to do that after he left a terrible voicemail on my phone the day he found out the real value. He demanded it back like he was entitled to an object he sold fair and square. Called me a POS, called my wife a POS, and said he would do bad things if I didn't sell him the guitar back. And to those people who say they would have told the guy the real value, that's a load of horse crap. If you went to a garage sale or estate sale and saw an item worth $5,000 priced at $50, there's not a snowball's chance in hell you would walk up to the homeowner and tell them they mispriced it. You'd buy the item and then tell all your friends and family what a great score you got. Don't even kid yourself like you wouldn't do that. I don't feel bad about buying an awesome guitar at a steal of a price. I was curious what others would think, and it looks like I'm not the butthole. So thank you, Reddit. I can play the guitar with zero guilt now, not like I felt guilty before, but now my feelings are justified. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called Peabody77 that says pretty much what I did after the first part. It says, not the butthole. When you sell something, it is your responsibility to know or determine what it's worth, not the person you are selling to. On the other side of this one, another user down below called AGD1516 said, everyone sucks here. You blatantly took advantage of him and his ignorance. He sucks because he didn't research it enough, and then harassed you and your wife to the point it got him fired. Just a whole messy situation. I don't think you should sell it back to him. You paid a price he gave you, bad on him. You just seriously took advantage of him, bad on you. Alright listeners, what do you think? If you're on YouTube, comment down below, and if you're listening to this on the podcast, well, I guess you should get over to YouTube and comment down below. This story comes to us from MKHair01. Put a lien on my neighbors for not being able to pay an illegal special assessment? I'll put a lien on your $20 million mansion. This may be the most petty thing I have ever done in my life. I'm a pretty petty person, and I also believe in malicious compliance, but this takes the cake. So I bought a condo in a building in a large city in the US about 2.5 years ago. The building has an HOA that we all pay into monthly. Since I've lived here, the building has rapidly deteriorated and we have all hired an attorney for a class action style lawsuit. I'm talking broken elevators, broken rooftop AC units, the pool was empty for 4 months during the summer, etc. The people in the building are great though, and we are a friendly bunch. Last year, I took the HOA to small claims court because they failed to provide financial documents that show us how our fees are being spent. As this is a legal requirement for all HOAs in my state, I won the case and was awarded the $30 filing fee plus $1 symbolic. I sued for documents, not money. The fact that they can't provide the docs as they are legally required to do is a separate issue among others, including possible criming that we've hired the attorneys for. I have asked the HOA to pay the $31 to me, and the president of the HOA wants to either meet me somewhere private to give it to me, or he wants to mail me a satisfaction of judgment form, have me sign it, and mail it back to him, and then he will mail me a check. No to both. 3 days after I won the case, the HOA announced that they were going to charge us all a special assessment of about $1,000 each and an increase in our monthly dues of 10%. In my state, a membership vote gets triggered if you charge a special assessment that brings the building more than 5% of its yearly income, which means 51% of the owners must approve of the assessment for it to take effect. As this money is about 20% of our yearly income, a vote should have taken place. When we asked about this vote, the HOA said that it was being made under an emergency clause, which means that the membership vote doesn't have to take place. The emergency? Fixing the elevator that broke on December 24th, 2021. The spirit of the emergency clause is for things like fire, earthquake, flood, etc., not a broken elevator that has been broken for a year already. When there was understandable pushback, the HOA sent out a little email stating that anyone who didn't pay the assessment would have a lien put on their unit. The liens came down yesterday to those that couldn't pay $1,000 on short notice. our attorneys told us that even though the money is in dispute, we still have to pay it. And I did pay mine, but we also have a lot of retirees and low-income people in the building. The HOA president's house is currently on the market for $20 million. I just got back from the courthouse where I filed a $31 lien against it for $140, clouding its title. It's a matter of principle, not money. Now the title can't change hands until he pays me my $31, and I am perfectly within my rights to collect on a judgment owed. OP added an edit down below. It says, "Edit, I will for sure keep you guys updated after the attorneys do their thing." That might be a story for pro-revenge though. OP added a second update. It says, "Edit 2, some confusion here. I initially filed the small claim with the HOA as defendant. The small claim judge determined that was incorrect and said I should sue the individual as the president of the HOA and made me amend the case. Therefore, the defendant in the whole case was the one individual person, and therefore, he is responsible for the $31, and I can exercise my right to put a lien on his home in my effort to collect. I can only put a lien against the defendant, and the defendant is a person. I cannot put a lien against the HOA because they were not the defendant in the case. The courts already determined that the person owes me money. I don't need to continue to argue a case I've already won." OP added a final edit on this one. It says, "Edit 3, wow, this blew up. And with that, so many people accusing me of lying because they don't understand our legal system. Thank you to all who are supporting my efforts. We hope to have these people overthrown and in prison, hopefully by the end of the year. We've turned over all we have to our attorneys, who are the best HOA attorneys in LA. We will get these people." Jumping down to the comment section on this one, there's one from a user called Look Away Please 510. It says, "Wow, as an HOA president myself, that's insane. They absolutely have to show you their financials. Can you sue regarding the super illegal $1,000 special assessment? I've never been sued, but I know if I told the owners in my building I needed $1,000, I better have at least 3 quotes for the work I'm supposedly having done." Could you imagine being in the process of selling your $20 million house and then not being able to because somebody put a $31 lien on you? Could you imagine? That's just petty AF. But let's jump into OP's update and see what happens from here. OP's update is titled, "Update, put a lien on my neighbors for not being able to pay an illegal special assessment. I'll put a lien on your $20 million mansion." So a couple weeks ago, we were all informed that there is going to be a second special assessment this year. Our last one was about $1 per square foot. This one is $1.25 per square foot. I'm getting a rhinoplasty next month and just can't afford to plop another $1,250 to these people, and therefore I'm not paying. This, combined with the special assessment from a few months ago, equals about 45% of our building's income, well over the 5% limit in the state of California. Several other people are not paying because they either can't afford it or simply think it's too much. Both are valid. He can lien my unit all day, every day. I will go to the court hearing about it and get it thrown out. Our HOA recall election was tonight. 5 seats on the board. Us individual homeowners put forth 3 candidates. The 3 of us spent many Sundays going door-to-door campaigning, and we did get a lot of neutral owners on board. With the ballots, you can either mail them in or fill them out in person. Most of us elect to mail them in, and there were 2 questions on them. 1. Do you approve of the recall election? 2. Place your votes for candidates in this grid. Unfortunately, several people skipped question 1, and approval for the recall was therefore less than 51%. The family of crooks that run our building now own 119 units out of the 180, and we just didn't get it. After the election, there was an HOA meeting. I find these things an absolute waste of time. A stupid meeting ran by stupid people. But I did show up about 20 minutes late for about 10 minutes, and a literal fist fight almost broke out, and the family announced that even though I have a seat on the board, they are no longer including me in meetings because I am disrespectful. People literally started screaming. Another owner made an audio recording of the whole thing, and I sent it along to our attorney. Our HOA bylaws require mediation before litigation, and so we have that coming up, in which we are asking for a large sum of money, our attorney fees, and this family to give up their positions of power and have their voting rights stripped permanently. If they refuse, we go to litigation, and a judge will subpoena their financial records, which will show laundering, embezzlement, theft, and God knows what else. So I have a pretty good feeling they will accept to avoid the alternative potential prison. Also, the house I put the lien on still hasn't sold, so I still haven't gotten my $31, and our elevators still don't work. Jumping down to the comment section on this one, we have one from a user called Naringim. It says, with the elevators not working, that's an accessibility issue, and HUD would love to have a chat with the family of crooks. But we can't afford to fix the elevators. Show us your financial records, all of them. Possible outcome? Hello, federal criminal charges for laundering, embezzlement, theft, and whatever else they want. To clear up the original story and the lien put on the house, OP received an email from them that said, check for $31. You'll receive a check for $31 via FedEx in the next few days. I will forward tracking number as soon as available. I expect that you will record a satisfaction of judgment once the check clears. I believe I sent you that form earlier. Best regards, Dinkface.